In this video, guys, we're going to look at what are some of these specific things we can look for that could indicate a recovery after we've come out the other side of this coronavirus. Stick around. Hey guys, welcome to you. Thank you for joining me. All right, so what are the things we can look for, maybe, that could indicate a recovery after we've come out the other side of this coronavirus? And I hope that we do sooner rather than later. Putting trading everything to one side. You know, the sooner we can get out of this, the sooner we can see the light at the end of the tunnel and kind of push through, squash the virus, or at least know where we are. That's just better for everybody. And I think trading is going to be volatile and lots of stuff going on for the foreseeable future anyway from that perspective. But of course, the main thing we all want is for everyone to be healthy and safe. Anyway, so the first thing I think, and one of the things that's kind of exaggerated this sell-off, I believe, and one of the things that will help any recovery is certainty. Guys, people do not like uncertainty. The markets do not like uncertainty. You know yourself, you don't really like uncertainty. You've probably been in a position where it's gone against you massively and you're like, well, what's happened? I don't know what's happened. Is there some news out? And you've kind of thought about this and you've panicked out of the position because you've been uncertain about why you're in the position or if something adverse has hit it. It's the same with the markets. You know, they don't know, or nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow, next week, the next month. You've got people on one side saying, hey, this could be an 18-month lockdown, in which case the markets are overvalued where they are because there'll just be companies, swathes of companies going bust, devastate the economy. Other side, people saying, we're going to bounce back pretty quick. Anything could happen. The virus could kind of dissipate off. We could get a vaccine, we could get a thing, blah, blah, never as bad as it is. And we're back in and we're roaring up to highs, and with low interest rates, we're just going to rip through those highs because everyone's going to be spend. We're going to be somewhere in the middle. I assume we're going to be somewhere in the middle. We normally always are. And so the certainty that we're looking for is certainty from kind of the health aspect of, okay, how many people are we looking at is going to be affected? What's the death rate? All this kind of stuff. Then the certainty of the economic impact. So, hey, we're now going to look at this amount of hit to GDP, X% to the GDP, to the jobs, to the economy, etc., etc. And then from a company level, the certainty of, right, we're expecting to lose X amount of money. We're expecting to lay off these amount of people. However, here's our plan to come out of it. We expect this. Even the worst case scenario from a company means that people can start thinking, right, because at the moment they just don't know. You know, we just don't have any guidance at all yet, because of course every CEO around the world is in firefighting mode. They're like, right, we need this, we need that. They're not interested about updating markets or anything. But once they do, and once they kind of take stock themselves of the situation, and they go, right, this is the situation, this is the damage, right, how much is it to repair this damage? What's the damage to the bottom line? How long does it take to get out of it? What plans are we taking? That then is shown to the market. The market can look at that and digest it and go, you know what? Right, we know where we are now. That's the bottom line. The damage is limited. We've been hit. We've took a hit on the sub, so to speak. This is how much it would take. This is how long it's going to take to patch the thing up. We are not going to sink. And that certainty, as we start to see coming from multiple companies, from government level, from kind of economic, from the central banks as well, right down to the company level, that is, I believe, when we might start to see a recovery, even if the certainty isn't that great, because people can see where they are then. And of course, there's going to be some companies that the certainty is, oh, we're going bust, we can't get any more debt, and we're struggling. And those companies are probably already well on their way at the moment anyway. But from a perspective of recovery, I think when we start to see those kind of certain things coming out, that could be the start of it. Again, guys, as with all these videos, I definitely don't pretend to know it all, and I'm not saying this is exactly what's going to happen. I'm sharing my thoughts with you, and maybe, you know, as with everything, we're taking all this information and we kind of then think about it ourselves, digest it, disagree with some parts, agree with some parts. But I think it helps the thinking process for everybody. So these are just my thoughts, guys. And always, guys, your comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about it. You know, what do you think is going to happen when we start to recover? What sort of signs might we see to indicate potential recovery? Number two, guys, is a plan of action. So as really wanted to have talked about that, a plan moving forward, certainty about the damage impact, and a plan of action how to move forward to get back to where we were and even more, how to put the economy back on its feet, how to put the health of the people back under control, all these kind of things. That plan of action will help the markets. The markets don't mind bad news. It's the uncertainty and then not knowing what the plan is going to be, and our CEOs or central banks just going to knee-jerk reaction, as they kind of are a little bit at the moment, because they almost have to, because they haven't got time to plan things. When it comes a little bit more certain and we have a plan of action, we could see some signs of recovery then. And then obviously at the grassroots level, guys, a rise in spending. We start to see people spending again. I'm kind of wondering whether, as we come out of this, people are going to feel really good. Part of me thinks that might be the case. I don't know this. Of course, it's just sharing my thoughts. Are people going to come out of this assuming that we get it under control, we get the virus under control, everything's kind of not as bad as we thought it would be? Are people going to be thankful to be alive, so to speak, and then be happy more and good times and start spending more? Or are they going to flip the other side and go, oh, we need to be careful, it might happen again, let's just hoard cash, let's not go extravagant? Part of me thinks that they might be a bit more happy to be alive and go, yeah, you know what, we're not here on this earth forever, let's enjoy it and spend it. I think I'm erring more towards that, but it could be the other side as well. Only time will tell. From a technical perspective, guys, the classical one would be, as price starts to lift, rather than being hammered all the time as it is at the moment, starting to hold. We're going to get moved down, but starting to hold. Not just kind of snapbacks up that just get sold off, but lifting, holding for kind of weeks in a row. Another leg holding, maybe testing lows, but higher lows, that kind of price structure that we like to classically see normally in a swing chart or an intraday chart. But that kind of thing might indicate, okay, people are a little bit more mindful about selling. They're not that, not panicking so much anymore. There's a few underlying markets or stocks or currency pairs that are seeing a bit of a bid come in, and that could indicate, okay, maybe now we push back up, not necessarily to highs, or we have some sort of recovery. The final thing, guys, is street level sentiment. You can't underestimate the power of street level sentiment. I mean, just today I was walking down the street. We're not in lockdown, by the way, when I'm filming this. We've got a sort of social distancing, but you can walk through a park and everything. But you can just feel there's tension in the street level. And this is just in the UK. I'm assuming it's the same everywhere. There's tension. People are talking about this non-stop. They're worried. They're concerned. They're definitely not thinking about their next car purchase or moving house or spending on a fashion item, or they're just not. They're just thinking about, how do I get through if I get into quarantine? How do I get through if I get sick? How does my family? That's what they're thinking about. So their mind is so focused. So street level sentiment is poor at the moment. And of course, we're not going to see a recovery whilst that's the case. So, as you start to, hopefully everything kind of becomes clear, people go out, people start to spend again, your feel for street level sentiment, even though it's a rough indicator and it's a very small sample size, does help. Because you start to think, well, if we're feeling like this, then the majority of the country and the world may well be feeling like this. And if they're still anxious and scared and concerned and talking about, making sure they've got enough loo roll in for the next one, maybe the recovery won't be so good. If they're thinking about, hey, off we go, everything's good again, we've got over that one, guys, phew, let's go spend, let's go drink, let's do all this kind of stuff that people are spending again, then you could assume potentially that might well be rippling throughout the rest of the country and throughout the rest of the world. I hope we get through this, guys. Keep the risk managed, whatever you're doing, and stay safe, stay healthy. Bizarre thing for me to say on a trading channel, I know, but we're in unprecedented times. To keep your risk managed, number one thing, make sure you're here to trade another day. From a capital perspective, emotional capital, there's a video coming up about that, very important in this time. And of course, stay healthy yourself. Take care, bye-bye.